Good evening. Welcome to the first live show from Last Bar Boxing for what seems like forever, lads. We did say, didn't we? We put a note out. We said we weren't going to do any more lives. We were going to put loads more content on. We have put loads more content on. There's lots of stuff from gyms. There's lots of interviews. But this is potentially the biggest fight card ever. So it'd be rude not to do a show for this, wouldn't it? There's a caveat to that, though, lads. There seems to be a bit of an issue with the IBF heavyweight title fight. We'll come on to that in 1 second. First and foremost, Daz, what's your thoughts about this card?
All intact, amazing. Some people saying it's the best card ever in the history of boxing.
I'd go with that.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's a fantastic card, and it still is, even with them fights possibly missing. But listen, I remember the days when, I'm sounding old here now. I remember the days when you'd got, big title fights, and you'd got people like Ricardo Lopez on undercard, and so I think you'd have to have a bit of a trawl through some cards, and I think there is some cards in history. We are looking into it in depth. I think there is some cards in history that probably could stand outside of this, but mate, it's up there. It's a great card.
Well, it's definitely the best card for about the last 20 or 30 years, isn't it?
Mate, like I say, if you're going back 30 years, you're going to where we're going to then.
90s.
Yeah. Yeah, you'd say so. Yeah. Yeah, you got to say for who's on it. Yeah. I think you'd probably have to rival it. You'd probably have to go back 50 years maybe for, when they stacked them out with all killers on the same cards. But like I said, we are, looking into it. Yeah, it is, mate. It's a great card. It just shows as well how good it is that when two fights potentially are gone, it's still worth watching.
Sean, we're going to talk about the Daniel Dubois situation we're going to start with that in a minute. But I can't think of another card in recent times that if an IBF heavyweight title fight had fell off the card wouldn't stay on. It'd be done.
Yeah.
They'd scrap it.
Yeah, definitely. And that's just testament to how stacked and how good this card is, really, isn't there? Thankfully, one of the fights looked like it's been saved. But as you say, years and years ago, the whole show would have been pulled with the main event going. So it's testament to Turkey and the whole team, really, for putting such a good card on.
I think we have to start with the Daniel Dubois, Joseph Parker situation. Press conference is going on as we speak. Daniel Dubois is nowhere to be seen because, by all accounts, he's ill. I don't know if you boys have heard any more than that, what his illness might be, what it might not be. By all accounts, he's being seen by a doctor now. It's not looking good because they won't come out with this. They'd have kept it quiet if it was just something he could have shook off. They'd have kept it quiet. I don't see any way this fight happens. Sean, I'll come to you first, mate.
Yeah, I haven't really seen too much on it. It just sort of, as I was leaving work, I saw the messages on our group. So I'm none the wiser, really. But if he is seeing a doctor, we saw what happened with Schofield earlier in the week and how diligent the board are at taking the health of the fighters. So I imagine that this fight will be off, yes.
Guys, if it is off, we're talking less than 24 hours. They're not going to get a very, very top level fighter coming in, are they?
I wouldn't have thought so. There's a lot of talk of Bakole stepping in, but Billy Nelson said on X that Bakole's ready, his bags are packed, he's ready, been training, he'll step in. If that's the case, then
if you're Joseph Parker You're not going to be happy with that, are you?
Not really, mate. To be fair, you can't just take into Do you know what, mate? That's a wicked point. That, to be fair, because you can't just take into account replacing Dubois.
No.
Joseph Parker deserves, he's worked at facing Dubois for this camp. So I think Joseph Parker deserves a little bit better, to be fair, as well. I mean, probably shouldn't fight, if I'm honest, because I mean Bakole is a big danger. I actually said on X, my opinion of it was, if you want to rescue the fight, put Caballel in with Parker for interim title and find Zhang a late replacement, because I think Caballel's more deserving of the fight than what Zhang is.
Maybe, yeah.
But then again, is it fair on Parker to face, someone different? So probably Parker won't fight. If it'll be, I mean, I wouldn't imagine Andy Lee will allow it, if I'm honest. I find it very strange. I mean, if he's been a bit off it the past couple of days, sniffles or sickness and stuff like that, and I'm surprised that they wouldn't have said anything then, because it maybe to replace it. But if he's gone down, has he eaten something? I mean, do you know what as well? And I've said this since all this Riyadh thing started. You're expected to do a hell of a lot of press stuff. And when do you get time to relax?
Tough fight week, isn't it?
Yeah, mate. They're out all the time, meeting and greeting, doing stuff. When do you get time to relax? I don't. I mean, going to the heavyweights. I mean, you had your, you media duties in, like when Lennox were champ. But I don't think Lennox would have been doing all this. I think he'd have been, listen, I'll do my media duties and I'm relaxing. Because you got to think that
you to another level, Daz. He's taking it to another level.
Yeah, you've put your body through hell, mate. You have put your body through hell in camp. So your immune system's going to be depleted. I mean, and then you're exposing yourself to all these different people.
It used to just be press conference weigh-in.
Yeah.
So you get Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday to acclimatise yourself to the situation. Thursday, you'd have a press conference. Then it's back to chill. Friday, you'd have your weigh-in. Then it's back to chill. Nowadays, especially with Riyadh, you've not only got the media workout on the Wednesday, the press conference on the Thursday, and the weigh-in on the Friday. You've got the grand arrivals.
Yeah.
So from the very start of the week, they're on it, and they've got to be doing interviews on every day. It's a bit too. It's a bit too much, really. It's too much on the fights, in my opinion. Sure.
I think as soon as you get there, you're expected to do media stuff. So if you've been there 2 weeks, you're expected to do media stuff.
Yeah, and it's taxing, isn't it, Daz?
Mate, big time. Yeah, big time. I mean, like I said, through camp, you've put your body through hell. Your immune system's going to be a bit depleted.
Yeah.
No matter how many vitamins you take, you're going to feel a bit, that's when you're recovering. So to me, you're exposing yourself to all different people who, God knows what germs they're carrying. You
get an interview that's got a cold or got some sort of bug that's talking into a mic, and then they pass that same mic to you.
Exactly.
You're breathing in their germs, aren't you?
Exactly.
I know it sounds ridiculous.
Thing is, as well, mate, if they've gone out gone out for some food, and the guy who's cooked the food's a bit poorly.
Yeah, you just never know, do you? It's one of them. It looks like, I mean, fingers crossed he's all right. But what I don't want to hear, Daz, is I don't want to hear that he's been put under pressure to take the fight, and then we don't see the Daniel Dubois that we should have seen, and he loses his world title because and then he comes out saying he was unwell. I don't want that to happen. I'd rather the fight get cancelled.
Yeah.
Sure, Joseph Parker wouldn't want that either. He wouldn't want to win the world title under circumstances where he's got Daniel Dubois turning around and saying, well, you beat me because I was poorly. Sean, I'll come to you, mate. We'll get this other one out of the way. We had the same situation earlier on the week with Shakur Stevenson. Luckily, and thankfully to Josh Padley, he stepped in.
Yeah, it's an amazing story, isn't it? I think he was working as an electrician on a Wednesday. He got the call to go on the flight, and there he goes, changing his life. I mean, what other sport or what other way of life could that happen to you? So I think that's sort of a feel-good story of the week for me. And thankfully, as you say, he saved the fight.
And you got to give him credit for it as well. I mean, let's have it right. He's 15-0. Beat Mark Chamberlain last time out. He's going places. But is he going to get an opportunity like this again?
Yeah, and I think in boxing, for fighters that haven't got a big promoter or haven't got a big profile, they have to take these opportunities when they come, because as you just said, they may never arise. So it could be a once in a lifetime opportunity for him. Even if he loses, as I expect him to do, unfortunately, he's on such a big stage where he'll probably get another big fight off the back of this. So it's a great situation for him all round, really. Daz,
as Sean's just said, he's in a no-lose situation.
Yeah, mate. I know Josh, and mate. Honestly, could have been offered the fight v Parker, and he'd have took it. You know, he's a fighter. He's a really nice kid as well, so he deserves everything. He deserves this to be life changing for him. You know, listen. Let's be real. Obviously, Shakur is expected to win. And win quite handily. I don't for 1 minute think that if Josh connects with Shakur's going to want to take another one, because Josh can hit. He's got power. I've seen it up close. He's got some power. Shakur's not really known for his power. I'd sort of lean towards it. If Shakur were going to stop him, it'd be because of an injury. You know, whether a closed eye or a bad cut or something like that. Listen, I want him to shock the world. I want him to somehow pull this off and become WBC lightweight champion at world. You know, that's just my heart saying that. But listen, I think this could possibly go to points, and I think Josh could acquit himself really well and put himself. You know, like people say, yeah, good kid.
Sean, I saw you and Daz on the Twitter group earlier in the week talking when this fight was announced and Joshua took it, talking about where would it, if Josh Padley won this fight, where would it sit amongst the all-time biggest upsets? So give me your opinion, then we'll get Daz's, and then we'll bring Carlin, who's graced us with his presence.
Yeah, I think it's going to have to be considered one of the biggest upsets of all time. Just in my opinion, just purely because the fact he's still not a full-time boxer. You know, it's a bit like putting it into football, a non-league team knocking out Liverpool or Man City, really. So there's a bit of context. I think it would be a huge upset if it was to happen.
Carl, I'll bring you in, mate. Before we go to Daz's opinion on the Shakur Stevenson thing, what's your opinion on what's broken this afternoon with Daniel Dubois?
Yeah, it's unfortunate, isn't it? Especially on the back of the news earlier on in the week. I don't see anyone sat at the press conference. So obviously, I'm assuming someone's flying over as we speak. Talk about Martin Bakole, isn't there? Talk about Joe Joyce. More likely to be Joe Joyce rather than Bakole for me, because Joyce fights next week. So, yeah, a bit cloak and dagger about why Dubois pulled out. All we know is it's illness. Disappointing, isn't it, for the card perspective?
Has he officially pulled out now?
Well, he's not sat at the press conference.
No, he's not, but it's not official that he's pulled out, I don't think.
Right, well, Spencer Brown said as much on the radio just while I was on the train earlier, so I think it's a given that he is pulling out. So if I had to bet, I'd say Joe Joyce jumps in. I think that'll be. I think Parker will enjoy getting Joyce back in the ring. Joyce beat him last time they fought. So
it's a big risk, though, isn't it? We just spoke about it, Carl. It's a big risk for Joe Parker because he's worked tirelessly. He's got himself back into the frame, and rightly deserves this world title shot. You know, if he, and as Daz has said, he's trained specifically for Daniel Dubois. Now, I know Joe Parker will go in with anyone, but should he? Should he have to?
Yeah, I'd imagine he'll want to fight now. He's gone through camp though, so there's a balance, isn't there? I'm sure. I mean, Parker being a typical fighter, his team might feel different to what Parker does. Like Darren will know more of that than me, but sometimes fighters have to be saved from themselves a little bit, I'm guessing. But so interesting. I think Parker still fight. I think he'll fight Joe Joyce. Because as Daz knows, when a fighter's done a 12, 13, 14 week camp, you want to fight at the end of it. So I think he climbs between the ropes.
Just going quickly, we're going off tangent a little bit here, but just quickly, lads, I was going to bring this up later on. I fear for Joe Joyce. I've seen some interviews with him recently, and I don't like what I'm getting back. I don't like the way he's speaking in interviews. It's taking him forever to digest what people are asking him. The signs are not great. I don't want to talk about. I hate talking about fighters like that because they've been through hell in the ring, something I don't know anything about. But surely people that are around him that know him properly know him. They've got to see that. If I'm seeing it, Daz, you know much better than anybody else about stuff like this.
Unfortunately, 80% of teams will just see a paycheck, and that's how it is to me. I've seen it at lower level, at small level, people being put in fights they should never be nowhere near.
Yeah.
And that's to probably get 500 quid.
Yeah.
So if you're going to get 50 grand or 20 grand or 10 grand, whatever, people don't really care. I think Carl was spot on really with Bakole. I mean, to me, if I was training Parker, I wouldn't want him to fight Bakole on this short notice. I think Joyce is a safer option, but again, you've got to look at. I mean, Parker's got a lot to lose really. And not a lot to gain if he fights Joyce. I mean, he's expected to beat Joyce, but what if he doesn't?
Okay, I just wanted to bring that up. Unless you two boys have got an opinion on what I've said about Joe Joyce.
Well, Dillian White alluded to it in the press conference, didn't he? He mentioned it a few times in terms of a delayed reaction when he's up in terms of response. So I don't know. Is it acknowledged in the inner circle of the boxing world? We don't know, do we? But yeah, it's a worry, isn't it? It's a worry for his long-term health. That is the case.
I think it is. What about you, Sean?
Yeah, I know he's kind of mentioned he's had some kind of speak impediment when he was younger as well, and it's not a new thing for him. But I think people that have followed his career has seen it's probably deteriorated if it is that. So yeah, we'll have to see. It's not good signs, as you say. Okay,
back to the Shakur Stevenson question, Daz, that I asked Sean a minute ago about where would it rate in all-time upsets if Josh Padley pulled it off?
I don't think I'd put it with Douglas Tyson, if I'm honest. I think it'd fall just a bit short of that due to what Iron Mike was like and what Douglas had previously shown. Maybe I mean I think Douglas was as high as 42-1 at one point for that fight. I tell you what though, I'd probably rank it alongside Onigan and Curry.
Yeah, fair comment.
I'd probably put it alongside them. I mean, like I said, listen, I know Josh, and I've seen Josh fight up close. I've seen Josh spar up close. And like I said, he can punch. Even though his record doesn't belie it, he can punch. And the reason why his record isn't, his KO record isn't as good as what it should be, is because he used to look for the big bomb. And, you know, I remember him fighting, I think it was Kevin might not have been Kevin Bakole, but, you know, you see him fight these journeymen and they can see him coming.
Yeah.
You know, they see the punches coming and they take the sting out of him. I mean, as an amateur, we had guards on. He was knocking people's spark out. You know, he was absolutely demolishing everybody. Even in sparring, I mean, I had a middleweight spar with him, and he broke the middleweight's jaw. And Josh was only a super featherweight. Just a real big puncher.
He's in deep water here, though, doesn't it?
Oh, massively, mate, massively. But I think he'll acquit himself. I mean, if he does get stopped, I think he gets stopped on an injury. I think stood up a little bit round his eyes and cut. But I wouldn't be surprised to see him go the distance. Probably lose every round. Maybe suffer a bit of a flash knockdown, maybe once or twice. But I can tell you now that if he hits Shakur flush on button, Shakur ain't going to want another one. You know what I mean? But listen, like I said, let's be real. I mean, I'd love him to do it. But, you know, my money would be on Shakur to win on points, to be fair.
I think that's a fair comment. Shakur's got one of the best defenses in the business. So it's going to take Josh. It's going to take a lot for Josh to land clean, I think.
Yeah, he's got to throw punches in bunches. He's got to throw combinations.
Yeah,
got to throw combination after combination. And listen, Shakur's for me is a special talent, and Shakur will probably make him miss a lot. Like I say, I mean, I know I said points, but there's a likelihood that Shakur will land a lot, and maybe cut him, close his eye, or something like that. I mean, let's be fair. If that does happen, if he's taking a bit of a lot of punches, he don't need to be in there for as long, too long. He's took it on 3 days' notice against probably best lightweight in the world.
Yeah,
you know.
I'm going round 8 stoppage. That's
I'm going to say Josh is going to cover him, sending glory in defeat here. I'm going to say he's going to lose on points.
Sean?
I think Shakur will win sort of mid to late stoppage. Okay.
Moving swiftly on to the first of the interim titles that are on the line. There's 4 interim titles on the line here, boys. And I know in the past we've kind of scoffed a little bit at these belts because they've not always meant a lot. But every one of these interim title fights that's on the bill tonight, anyone that wins these fights could go on to be the next mandatory challenger.
Let's have it right, Andy. Some of them interim fights we spoke about in the past have been massive mismatches, right?
Yeah.
You can't argue that about this card, can you?
Yeah, no, absolutely not, mate. So the first one we're talking about, WBC interim heavyweight title, Zhili Zhang against Ajit Kabayel. Sean, I just see this one going. Interesting fight, this.
Yeah, very interesting fight, and potentially could steal the show. I think. I think a lot of people think it will potentially be a knockout either way, and I agree. I think you never know what you're going to get with Zhang, do you? He's either going to really come out there and put it on him, or he's just going to sort of have 2 rounds of a good fight and then be a punch bag. So it's really intriguing. I do rate Kabayel, and I think Kabayel will probably get the stoppage and win sort of round 10, 11.
Cole?
Yeah, this one is very intriguing. I often have a gut feeling. I go with that gut feeling no matter what. But this one, I've done a bit of an under, flip-flopped a little bit. So Kabayel's still got a lot to prove to me. People keep telling me he's a world champion in waiting, but I've not seen. He's not been in any level of opponent to note, really. So I'm going to say Zhili Zhang. I think Kabayel bottles it on the big stage. Zhili Zhang to knock him out round 5.
Guys? think Daz might have froze.
There we go. He's back with us
There
now.
we go. Back in the room.
We can hear you. What we called?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're back, mate.
All right.
Just keeps drifting in and out sometimes. Where were we at? I heard Carl said Cabell.
Yeah, so your opinion, mate, how'd you see it going? It's froze again.
Yeah.
Bill, I like an heavyweight who body punches. Sometimes with Zhang, it looks like he's got the movement of an heavy bag, when he's pondering. Could he, just be walking forward all the time, taking punches, land one, like Foreman Mora-esque? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But listen, I don't see anything wrong with Cabell's engine. So I think Cabell can keep offsetting him, I don't think that Cabell punches hard enough to stop Zhang, if I'm honest. Because I think Zhang's he's as tough as old leather, I think. And he's a big man as well. I'm going to stick with boxing skill in this one. I'm going to say Cabell wins on points.
Yeah, I'm going with Daz. Cabell points. I'm not as interested in that fight as some of you boys are, to be honest. I'm not a fan of Zhang. I think he's boring. So moving swiftly on to the second of the interim title fights. Very, very good fight again. WBC Super Welterweight interim title fight. Virgil Ortiz Jr. versus Israel Madrimov. Start with you first, Cole.
Yeah, I'm going Ortiz to win this fight. I like Madrimov, don't get me wrong. I think he's a very good fighter. I think Ortiz Jr.'s just got that bit of, I don't know how to describe it, bit of stardust. I think he's just a very good fighter. I'm going to go, I think this goes to points, and I'm going to go for Ortiz Jr. to win on a very tight stroke split decision.
Madrimov was kind of touted as being the big monster. Obviously, his only loss has been to Crawford, Daz, but he looked very average in that fight. Crawford made him look very average.
Yeah, he seems to be one of them that is, just below that elite level. He's going to be a beast, and he's going to probably beat everybody. It reminds me of a little bit. They're a fighter. I mean, I'm not talking styles, by the way, but they're a fighter in 90s and late 90s, early 2000s. He was called Yuri Boy Campus. Right. I don't know if you guys remember him.
No.
But he was knocking people's spark out. And then when he stepped up, to the elite level, he just fell short. And I think that's what such as Madrimov's going to do, to be fair. I just think he's lacking a bit of something at that elite level.
How'd you see it going then, Daz? Give us a prediction.
I think points. For Virgil Ortiz Jr. Fairly comfortable in all, I'll say.
Eddie Hearn's got a job on with Madrimov, hasn't he, to make him attractive, Daz? He's got a job on to promote him.
Yeah, he doesn't seem the most charismatic of fighters as well, but I just think he's up against it here. I think he's losing this fight. And I think he's going to look good as well, Ortiz. I think he's going to put on a bit of a clinic. I'm not saying he's going to stop him, but who knows?
Yeah.
What are you saying, Sean?
Yeah, I'm going to go against the grain a bit here. I'm going to back Madrimov to win. I don't think Ortiz impressed me in his last fight. I think it was. I thought he looked a bit average in that one. But I think with Madrimov, there's definitely something there with him. As you guys said, if he's waiting in to show he's elite or if he's just high world class, the proof will be in the pudding Saturday night. But I think he's got a big performance in him, and I think he'll win again by late stoppage.
Okay, I heard that this next fight we're talking about was going to be the first on the bill, but surely not now. and that's the WBO interim light heavyweight title fight between Joshua Buatsi and Callum Smith. This is an absolute outstanding fight. Sean, I'll come to you first, mate. How'd you pull these apart?
Yeah, I mean, again, it's one of the well-matched fights on the card. I think with Buatsi, really, he has flattered to deceive me so many times during his career, because when he was coming through, it was given the big and he's going to be the next star. He hasn't shown that at all to me, really. I thought he was average against Willie Hutchinson, I think it was, he boxed. So I'm going to back Callum Smith in this fight. I think he's still got 1 or 2 fights left in him at this stage in his career. And I wouldn't be surprised again if he gets the late stoppage. That's a theme of mine tonight, I think.
And
that's what I'm going to go with.
Can I just cut in? Because I've just had a notification on my phone. So I'm trying to wait for the thing here. Apparently, it's confirmed Joseph Parker will face Martin Bakole.
Wow. Props to Parker. If that's true.
Sam Jones has actually said, I want 10% because he thingied it. But everything boxing have reported that it's confirmed.
I think I'm going to say now, outright, I think that's absolutely crazy from Andy Lee and Joseph Parker. I think.
See, I'm not sure because how do we know what condition Bakole is in?
Bakole doesn't matter to Bakole, mate.
He's been training.
A monster.
Yeah, because he does balloon up a little bit, doesn't he?
Yeah, he has been training.
Well, I've got a theory where Bakole ain't going nowhere. So if I'm in Parker's camp, there's part of me thinks, well, let's get him on 3 days' notice and let's have a go with him. He's
already over there, isn't he?
Say again, John.
He's already over there in Saudi, Bakole, so that does make sense in that regard.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean,
I think it's absolutely nuts, lads. Absolutely nuts.
Mate, like Cole says, mate, I tip me hat to Parker.
Yeah.
What a fighting man. But sometimes, I'll be honest, I would not be happy at that. I win with him on 3 days. Because to be honest with you, let's be real, Bakole is not going to take that fight if he's not fit. Bakole's not going to do it. If Bakole hasn't been training, he's not going to take that fight.
Let me play devil's advocate with that one, though, Daz. He's desperate for that big fight, isn't there? So,
yeah, but if you're not fit, you're going to get beat off Parker. I don't care who we are. You're going to have 2 or 3 rounds where you're dangerous, but Parker will keep away from him.
Some fighters got big egos, though, Daz. He might believe he can jump in and get it done within 3. I don't know.
Nah, you can't treat Joseph Parker like that. And the thing is, mate, if he's done that and he loses this, that's it then.
Yeah.
All that hard work's done. He's been training and he knows he's got a good.
I mean, that makes it even more intriguing, the fact that, it's a change of opponent. We don't know what Martin Bakole we're getting. We don't know how Parker's going to adjust to Bakole's style. It's very, very intriguing now from a fight fan perspective.
Yeah, that has just saved a lot of pay-per-views, that for me.
No, yeah, you're right. And all props to Parker. He's a proper fighting man. I just think it's balmy. I think it's a poor decision.
Yeah, mate, from a trainer's point, from a fan's point of view, I salute it.
Yeah.
But if I was Andy Lee, we don't know. Andy Lee might have been saying, do not fight Martin Bakole on 3 days. But if Joseph Parker's saying, no, I'm going ahead with it.
I mean, Andy Lee and Joseph Parker are super confident. They think they can beat anyone right now. And if they're using that mindset, then okay, why not take the fight? But can you think of another heavyweight in the division that you would want to fight less on 3 days now on 24 hours?
Well, to be fair, mate, it'd have been better off fighting Moses than Bakole.
Moses' lack of experience?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Bakole, mate, he's not got lack of experience. He punches like an absolute train.
Yep.
He's tough.
Not been in with anyone at Parker's level, though, right?
No.
Well, there's that question mark.
There is. Yeah. But
maybe that's where
use,
Parker's getting his confidence from. Maybe he's thinking,
probably, yeah. But if you're going to use that analogy, Moses Italman shouldn't be anywhere near a ring with Parker.
No, I'm talking about this fight though, and why Parker might have taken it.
Yeah, listen, he's obviously confident he's going to win.
And I'd imagine he's got a few more quid in the bank for taking it. Allegedly.
Maybe so. But listen, what a chance for Bakole to say I'm here.
Gate crash. That's a word.
Yeah.
It's definitely interesting, isn't it? It's definitely interesting, and I'm sure whoever wins this fight, they'll put him straight in with Daniel Dubois when Dubois is fit again. And I want to see Bakole get his shot. I really do, but I don't want to see Joseph Parker lose this fight now.
Do you know what though? Even though it's like been confirmed on here, I'm still a bit. I don't know. I can't. I just as a trainer, I wouldn't want that to happen.
No.
You know,
no one wants to see that, do they?
No, I mean, 3 days' notice. I mean, Bakole, I think it's just. Well, listen.
It's not 3 days notice, is it? It's less than 24 hours notice.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Yeah, I just don't know whether to tip me hat to Parker or say, what are you doing? You know, but listen, as a fan, intrigued.
I can kind of see the rationale behind it, though, to be honest. Although they're not entirely the same, they're both big sort of lumps, come forward, powerful fighters. So that's potentially why they've took it.
Yeah.
Kind of similar style.
Yeah, good shout that, Sean, to be fair.
Yeah, it is. Right, back to what we were talking about. Joshua Buatsi, Callum Smith. Sean, did you give your prediction? I can't remember.
Yeah, I did. Smith late stoppage going on with the FEMA tonight, I think.
Daz, I think you were about to tell yours when you gave us that breaking news.
Yeah, I'm still waiting to be wowed by Buatsi, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't really wow me against Willie Hutchinson. I mean, he's only lost to Canelo and Beterbiev.
He did the job. He did the job on Willie Hutchinson. Shown levels into.
Buatsi did, yeah. But you know, Willie Hutchinson ain't on Callum Smith's level for me.
No. People were hyping him up though, Daz, weren't there?
Oh, definitely, yeah. I mean, Callum's jab. I mean, when he threw it against Beterbiev, you know, it was a good weapon. It was just that he were in against someone who, you know, negated that jab better than anybody probably could in world. You know, them two are above everyone else. So, in fact, he's only lost to Canelo and Beterbiev. I mean, there's no real disgrace there, to be fair. I fancy Callum Smith. Fancy Callum Smith winning this. But then you think, well, is this going to be the time when Buatsi finally wowzers? But no, I think Callum Smith. I think he's going to stop Buatsi a bit earlier than late. I think he's going to 8 to 10. I think he's going to stop Buatsi. I think he's got a lot to prove, Callum.
Callum, you and me have both been massive Callum Smith fans over the years.
Yeah.
I'm not bothered about the loss to Beterbiev because by all accounts Callum wasn't well, and still took the fight. Should have been pulled, to be honest. But he didn't. He looked a shell, didn't he?
He did. Yeah.
He looked a shell. So if the rumours are true that he went well, it looks like that to me.
And he did it away for Canelo as well.
Yeah, I agree. I agree as well. It's easy for us to make arguments for him. But he was, by all accounts, he had nothing left when he got in the ring. And the fact that Canelo blew his bicep out in them early rounds and he couldn't throw any shots with it, that didn't help. I'm completely in agreement with you, lads. Buatsi has flattered to deceive. He's going to be very negative in this fight. He ain't going to want to engage. And if Callum Smith lands, it's good night for me. Buatsi's got a lot of skill, but it's all defensive. When he goes on the attack, I don't think he's the same fighter. That's the way he wins the fight. But But for me, if Callum Smith lands any sort of a combination, I think it's good night because he punches really hard at this weight. I'm going Callum Smith, mid round stoppage. Okay, moving on to the first.
Don't get Marseille then, no.
I thought you just gave it.
No.
Sorry,
You went from Darren and then you gave your gambit.
Go on then, mate.
So, big Callum Smith fan. Perhaps hasn't been with anyone of Callum Smith's level. I think he's going to get a bit of rude awakening when he gets in with Callum. I'm not going to start talking mid to late rounds like you lot all are, sitting on the bench with splinters in all your arse. So I'm going to go round 7. I think Callum Smith's going to finish in round 7. Callum Smith needs this win to reignite his career, to be honest with you. And it looks like he's a dangerous fight with a bit between his teeth. Again, I think perhaps will be rabbit in the headlights when he gets in there.
Okay. On to the first of the full world title fights. WBC world middleweight title, Carlos Adames against Hamzah Sheeraz. We've all spoke about how Sheeraz is an absolute monster at this weight, and I don't know about you guys. I don't know how he still makes it. Carl, come to you first.
Yeah, I'll make this one quick. Adames is making noises into that Sheeraz is out his depth, blah, 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 blah. I think Hamzah Sheeraz will have him out of there by round 6. Simple.
Sean?
Yeah, I agree. I think Sheeraz will stop him around the midpoint of the fight.
Yeah,
Sheeraz is absolutely massive at this weight, isn't he?
Yeah, listen, I'm a massive fan of Sheeraz. I have been since since he turned over. Definitely best middleweight we've got in Britain, be a country mile. And I think I think he'll end up establishing himself as the best in the world. Amazing fighter, punches like a mule, and he's getting better.
Yeah.
What I like to see is when that farce with Skeet happened, he just came back better.
Yeah.
He punches so hard on end of that range.
That nowadays, don't we? We have to let that go now.
Yeah, listen, everyone has a dodgy night, don't they? But yeah, I think he's gonna blow a damn. I'm gonna say round 5.
3-weight world champion, Dad. 4-weight world champion by the time he's done his career.
Mate, I could see him going to light heavy, maybe
175.
But do this at middles, go to super middle. Listen, I won't be surprised if he don't get a fight with Canelo at some point. Yeah. But it depends how much he's looking spectacular, because then would Canelo really want to dance with him at twilight of his career?
I don't think so.
I could more see a Benavidez Sheeraz fight at some point, maybe, and a David Morrell Jr. fight with him at some point. But yeah, he's a phenomenal fighter. I love watching him. I think he's poetry. Love watching him.
Are you telling me you don't think Chris Eubank Jr. will step in with Hamzah Sheeraz?
Mate, fucking hell. Got more chance of me stepping in with Parker.
Can you imagine that fight?
Oh, wow.
Mate, honestly, listen, Chris Jr. is looking with the Ben fight. That's his swan song with money.
Yeah, I agree.
There might be another one after that, but you can't really talk about him in the same breath.
You know what it is? All them Brighton lot of shit asses, aren't they, Sean?
Sheeraz is fighting for titles and legacy. Chris and probably Connor at minute just want a bit of money. Yeah. So I'll say Sheeraz will take him out in about 5.
Yeah, it's an easy night's work for Sheeraz. I don't think he's even got anywhere near his peak yet.
No, scary.
It is, yeah. Okay, we've touched on the Parker situation, so we won't go back over that again. So up to the headliner of the night. Oof. We all saw the first fight.
Mate, I'm not watching this 5 times. Give me a this time.
We all saw the first fight. We have differing opinions. I know we did.
I still think Bivol won the first fight. I'll put it out there.
It was that close. The question is, Who adjusts enough to make a difference in this fight? Cole.
Bivol, I've said it all along. I won't change my mind. I think Bivol has got a little more improvement in him than Beterbiev has. So I think Bivol also can adjust his game more. Clearly, I'm a Bivol fan over a Beterbiev fan, clearly, but I just think, and also, I don't want to talk about the dark arts of boxing, but I believe this goes to a trilogy. So I think everything combined, Bivol will take this one on points.
What does Bivol need to do different from the first fight? Because he boxed out of his skin. Did he stand and trade too much?
No, I think he needs to finish the rounds a bit stronger. I think that's where he possibly lost the fight by not finishing the round strong, especially in the championship rounds. I think that's where he might have slipped away from him. Listen, these are two absolute elite fighters, right? And we're very lucky to have them both at full pace in the same era. I just believe Bivol will win the second. I think he'll win this one on points.
Sean, I'll come to you, mate. Do you back what Cole's saying? I know we said it in the first fight. Could this be the fight where Beterbiev grows old?
Yeah, I think it could. And also, the other thing to take into account will the sort of fast turnaround suit him. I think it was Eddie Hearn said it might actually favour Beterbiev, but it could also have the other way sort of on that as well. And I agree. I think Bivol will win. Again, I thought he won the first fight by a couple of rounds. I think he boxed absolutely perfect for 9 of the 12 rounds. So he's just got to somehow put that all together for the 12 rounds. And I think hopefully he'll come out with the points win.
Daz, imagine if Bivol had power.
Yeah, but would it still be enough to move that absolute Godzilla that's Beterbiev? Listen, I'll be honest with you, right? I've got different opinions. I don't think Bivol boxed the right fight, if I'm honest. I think he was too negative. He was always being moved around the ring. What's he got to do? To me, he's got to stand and plant his feet a bit more.
Really?
Yeah, he's got to. He's got to, because what he did in the first fight, Beterbiev had nothing really to worry about. Beterbiev just kept coming forward.
But if he stands and surely he's fighting into
Biterbiev. Yeah, exactly. That's my point. He's got to get his respect. The only
point I'd make about the first fight was you tell me about body language at the end of that fight, and you tell me who thought they won that fight.
Mate, honestly, you know what? A lot of people have said that to me, and I'll say the same to you as what I said to them. Means nothing. Beterbiev looks like he could kill his mum and eat her, even if he's in a good mood.
He thought he'd lost the fight.
No, I don't think he did. I think him, like Bivol, knew it were close. And I think they just thought, listen, we've done that. What will be, will be. We're going to do it again.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I don't think he thought he'd lost at all. I think he just thought, but I don't think he thought he'd won either. And I think it's same with Bivol to a certain extent. I think they just thought, listen, that were 12 rounds at absolute highest level. Let's see who gets it. But either way, we'll be doing it again. I think he's got to hit Beterbiev and get his respect. Because why do you want that man? You've got to give him something to think about. Why do you want that man coming at you all night, all 12 rounds? Does Bivol hit hard enough to stop him in his tracks?
No.
I don't think he hits hard enough, but I think he hits snappy enough. You know, he could possibly hit him. He could possibly hit him with a shot that he doesn't see, that sort of things.
He's got enough power to get his respect.
Yeah, well, in that case, he's not going to do that if he fights like he did in first fight, because he didn't get his respect in first fight. Beterbiev was just walking him down, positioning him where he wanted him. You saw a difference in shots, you know, and you could hear it when Beterbiev landed. He was moving Bivol. When, you know, and I tell you what as well, I think that's a lot to do with him looking to punch and move, because he was probably a bit off balance going to move.
Yeah.
You know, listen, people probably think I'm a bit daft saying he's got to plant his feet a bit more, but I think he has. I think he's got to plant his feet a bit more, be a bit more authoritative, then move off.
Well, you can do that, can't you, by coming in and out of range? You can do that.
Yeah, but you run the risk
of getting caught.
Of being worn down as well. Because listen, he weren't just taking half a step in and out that last fight. He was taking some full steps to get away, and Beterbiev was dictating how that was going. Listen, Bivol had some really good highlights, and he had some good rounds, and you know, I had Beterbiev. I can't remember whether it were by 1 or 2. I think it's probably going to go similar way, but I think Bivol's going to get the decision this time.
Yeah, I do think it's who sat in them judges' chairs, isn't it? What you like, if you will.
Okay. Before we end the show, lads, there's one last topic I want your opinions on, and we'll just do a quick one on this. We can perhaps pick it up another time and be a bit more in depth when we hear a bit more about what's going on. But apparently the WBO are asking for answers from Clarissa Shields on this failed drug test for marijuana. Now they can't strip her because they don't have the authority to do it. It has to be done by a doping agency. But Daz, she's, you know, a lot of people say she's the best female ever. She's done so much in so many levels, so many world titles, so many different weights. But she's very abrasive as a fighter. And a lot of people will say, well, she's got a bit coming to her and this may be it. I don't know if you've heard what I've said there, Daz. If not, I'll go to Carl. No. Okay, Carl. Give me your breakdown, mate.
Yeah, so I'm not over this topic regarding the marijuana. I don't know whether that's been broke today, but I'll be honest with you. Clarissa Shields is just very fame-hungry. You can't help but give a nod to her boxing achievements. Don't get me wrong, going up through the way she's achieving what she's achieved.
Yep.
But there's something missing because she's talking about wanting to be the greatest woman of all time and everything like that. Well, you know, that comes with a certain level of responsibility, i.e. like Katie Taylor conducts herself. So,
Serrano.
There's many, isn't there? There's many.
Yeah.
So regarding the drug testing, I've not read it. If I'm honest, I'm not really bothered about it. I don't know why it's making headlines if they're not going to test on it. What's the point in that? Almost sounds like a PR stunt to me, Andy.
Yeah, they have tested her. She's failed.
So what they're doing then? They're banning her?
Well, this is what the WBO are looking at, isn't it?
So, like I said,
bring
I'm not really over that. I don't really. If she's guilty, ban her. I can't help but feeling she's just anything for an headline, to be honest with you. But she's missing a dance partner, isn't she? If she wants to be remembered as an all-time great, what's the common theme that all-time greats have got? They've always got a dance partner. And she hasn't got one, has she? So
she won a lot of world titles when the female boxing world was starting to build. And she didn't, like you say, she didn't really have a dance partner. She was beating fighters easy, winning world titles easy.
She seems to have a chip on her shoulder that I don't like as well.
Yeah, I don't get that. The other thing I don't like, Carl, is the lack of respect for other fighters, the lack of respect for people she's getting in the ring with, and other peers that have won multiple world titles at multiple weights. She dismisses them. And you don't see that from...
She craves this fame, Andy. She jumped in the MMA world to try and get a bit more kudos around her career, and that's not worked. She's gone up to heavyweight and fought somebody no one's ever heard of, won a title, and that's not worked. So I don't know. I don't know how she's going to get this attention to a boxing career that she craves. I mean, let's be brutally honest. She's better known in the UK than she is in her own country. So I don't know what the answer is. I honestly don't. Until they find her a dance partner, I'll be honest with you, I'm not really interested in all the shenanigans that happens outside the ring. I quite like watching her inside the ring. I think she's got some talent. But I just there's something missing, isn't there? She feels a need to create drama outside the ring when she really should be concentrating on fighting inside the ring and building that legacy.
Sean? Do you know a bit more about this situation than Cole does? I mean, the thing she's got going for her, she's failed the test for marijuana. That's not in dispute. The thing she's got going for her is it's not peds. Is she likely to get a lighter? Is she likely to get? Yeah, but is she likely to get a lighter sentence if she does get any sort of a ban, or even just a slap on the wrist because it's not for performance enhancing?
Yeah, I think if there is any sanctions, it will be light because of that. But as Carl was just saying there, she doesn't really seem. I mean, the best way I can describe it, I guess, she's more suited in the WWE than she is boxing, really, with how she carries herself and how she's sort of presenting how she wants to be viewed, really. So I'm not too much across the whole story, although I saw I think it was Richard Poxon tweet about well, if everyone fails drugs test, nothing ever happens. So yeah, I haven't got too much to add really, but it's just a bit of a non-story, I think.
Yeah, agreed.
You feel the same way, Daz? Am I barking the wrong tree?
Mate, I think she's an absolute pleb. I just, mate, honestly, right, you know, when it come out, the people were saying she'd failed for PEDs. I thought, why, Clarissa, would you take performance enhancers? You know, at least give them to your opponents because they need them.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean, mate? Honestly, she calls herself the greatest woman of all time, and it's like, stop it! You've beat nobody.
No.
I mean, Clarissa Shields, but not Savannah Marshall.
Yeah.
Savannah Marshall fought the total wrong fight. Total wrong fight. But who has she beat? She stepped up to heavyweight and fought someone who had 5 fights and were 42-year-old and looked like she'd never been in a ring.
I mean, I don't remember her name. Do you remember her name, Daz?
I can't know.
No,
can
you, Andy? No, can you, Sean?
You know, I think who did she? I think best fight she had were a debut. Let me just check because I think she fought a decent fighter that was unbeaten in a debut. Let me just check. But yeah, I'm sure Clarissa fought someone who was also just turning pro, and there was an half decent fighter. I think, you know, in a debut. Well, I say half decent. She fought that Franchon Cruz Dizern. So they were both in the debut. I mean, yeah, all right, fair enough. I mean, she fought Anna Rankin, Ivana Habazin, Savannah Bakole. And listen, let's be real. She's nowhere near the best woman fighter of all time. Nowhere near. She's a legend in her own lunchtime. And to be honest, I think she's an horrible person. She seems it anyway.
She comes across that way, don't she?
Well, she ain't a great role model for female fighting, is she, by any stretch?
No, I mean, listen, there were that. It just shows you how much people despise her. When there was that footage of her getting knocked on her arse by that guy, everyone were loving it. You know, there were a lot of people against it, but there are a lot of people loving it.
The thing is, though, guys, if you're going to put yourself in a ring with a male fighter of any level, you know, that kind of tells you what she believes about herself.
Well, look at how she went out. She went to throw bombs with him, and he just clipped her.
And again, a film, you know, Daz, sparring don't normally make it into social media.
No.
All of a sudden, it's in the public domain. This sport.
Apparently, she went to a car and got a knife and threatened him with a knife. Yeah. She's just not a very nice person. But it's just a shame that there's no female fighter. I mean, listen, she's got some talent. Don't get me wrong.
Yes.
But she's not unbelievably good. Do you know what I mean? But there's no one around at minute that's good enough to knock her on her backside.
No.
And that's not because Clarissa's that good. That's because everyone else is shit.
I'd rather talk about Jake Paul than talk about Clarissa Shields. That's where I rate her.
Oh, come on, mate. You
no, I stand by what I say. No.
Yeah, listen, Clarissa's like, she's not even like Marmite, is she?
No.
She's just, I just can't bring me then to acknowledge her, to be fair. I mean, all these titles she's won at all these weights, look at the opposition.
Yeah,
Awful. I mean, that woman she fought at heavyweight, listen, I've just had a box rec up and I still can't remember her name. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just think, no, behave. And, you know, if she just were a little bit more humble and nice, she might get a bit more love, you know.
Yeah. I said it on our socials a couple of weeks ago when we were talking. We had that little conversation, didn't we, about who we thought was the best female of all time, and we all had our opinions. But you know, when you look at the sort of stuff that Amanda Serrano does on socials, where she's always bigging up other fighters, always praising other fighters for winning fights and for achieving stuff. And she's a 6 or 7 weight world champion herself.
What I will say, Andy, what an absolute shit topic to finish the night on, when we got an absolute banger of a card.
I just wanted to get your opinions.
Bow your head in shame.
I just wanted to get your opinions because it is in the news, and it's probably going to get buried because of what it is that she's kind of been caught doing.
Well, I don't go on the dodgy websites you go on, so that's why I've missed it, obviously. You know,
if you call Sky TV a dodgy website, then yeah.
Oh well, it must be if it's reporting about Shakur Stevenson and marijuana.
I think she's just one of them where, you know, you look and think, yeah, you just sit over there in the corner and keep talking to yourself. I mean, Brendan Ingalls had a nice saying once that he said to someone, "If you were a chocolate bar, you'd eat yourself."
Yeah. Good one.
You know, I think she falls into that category, to be fair.
I'll throw another one out there. There's no such thing as bad publicity, so I won't put it against one of the teams who have released something like this.
Yeah, possibly.
Allegedly.
You know what, right? This says it all. Any boxing film that's out, I'll watch. And if it's crap, I'll say afterwards, yeah, it's crap. Right? Now, I think I've watched every boxing film that's been made in history, near enough. You know, Gentleman Jim, Homeboy with Mickey Rourke. That was shit. I even watched a spoof of Rocky called Ricky back in the 80s. You know, listen, I've watched them all. Her film, Clarissa Shields' films come on Dodgy Stick. There are other Dodgy Sticks available. But it's come on Dodgy Stick, mate. I'm not watching that. Why the fuck do I want to watch her? Can't stand her.
No.
You know what I mean? It's about a journey through, you know, a tough life. And listen, come on, cry me a river. You know, everyone's had something tough. But then she's gone to Olympics and done what she's done. Mate, I do not want to watch a film about...
Well, let's get it right, Adam. Most of the American boxing Olympic team come from very humble backgrounds, right?
Exactly.
So unique to her, isn't it?
You don't see some of them having films made about them when some of them were far. Listen, why has there not been a film about Sugar Ray Leonard?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's just madness, absolute madness. You know, but yet we get a film about Clarissa. Crazy.
Like Cole just said, absolute poor topic to finish on. I do apologise.
Well, I think we should save the show, Andy, by sending a commiseration to Joe Gallagher and hoping him all the best with his ongoing treatment. There you go. You know, from everyone at Last Crescendo.
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about that for 5 minutes. We're talking about one of the best trainers Britain's ever seen.
Marmite. Let's not get you know. Some people I like him, Joe Gallagher. Some people
very outspoken. He isn't scared to go against the promoter if you don't believe the promoter's doing the right thing for his fighter, whether that's right or wrong as well. You know, he's fell out with a lot of people, but he's also got the respect of a lot of people. And no matter what you think of Joe Gallagher as a person, you've got to appreciate what he's achieved as a trainer.
Listen, this goes beyond boxing. This isn't about boxing.
Absolutely.
If Joe Gallagher weren't a boxing trainer and he were either of our next door neighbours, we'd be rooting for him and, you know, saying, listen, you know, get well soon. Listen, I hope that, you know, he's over in Saudi. Nah.
Yeah.
Well, listen, I hope that the endless amounts of money that they've got, they, chuck it to him for some top range. I know that might be a wrong choice of words, but
I'm sure that's happening. I'm sure
top
that's
range treatment. I hope they are.
What's happening?
And yeah, it goes beyond boxing. It's it's about being a human being, isn't it? And all I'll say is get well soon, Joe, and hopefully see you around.
Yeah,
I echo that. Carl, do you want to bring us out?
Yeah. So obviously this is the first live of 2025, so I think I'm still allowed to say Happy New Year to everybody. Thank you.
Can I just say one more thing as well? I forgot. I said to myself, I'm going to say this as well.
Go on.
Couple of weeks ago, there was a tragedy at a Sheffield school where Harvey Wilgoose, who was 15, I believe, got stabbed to death. No matter what city you're in, if you've got a beef with somebody, put your fists up. Listen, I'm not condoning violence, but it's a lot better to take a punch on nose than it is a knife through chest. If you feel like you're in a bit of a rut, you're involved with wrong sort of people, listen, take a step away. I'm not going to preach and say go to your boxing gym and you're going to be a world champion. I'm not saying that, but boxing will instill a bit of discipline and that family feeling in you. There's worse things you can do than going to a boxing gym. I'll say it, if you're around Sheffield area, I'm at Riley's gym. Get in contact with me on social media. If you feel like you're going down the wrong path, involved with wrong people, come in gym. I'll take you on pads and have a chat. And, there is other avenues you can take in your life. You don't have to take one. You can choose. So, R.I.P. Harvey Wilgoose.
Yeah.
Well said, mate.
Yeah, I echo that. And also there's Gloves Up, Knife Stand, charity organisations, dads and people like that. And sure, Google search will bring it up no matter where you are around.
Yeah, 100%. It's happening far too often. And listen, let's be straight. It's happening too much of a bullshit reasons.
Yeah.
It's all about ego and image. Listen, I'll say this. If you can't fight, don't cause trouble. If you can fight, get paid for it. Don't do it outside a pub or wherever. Get in a ring. And I'll be honest, if you're inclined to pick a knife up and stab someone, you need to take a long look at yourself in the mirror and change your life from being a shit house.
Yeah.
That's what you've got to do.
Feel free to post your comments in the chat bar below if you want to take Daz up on his offer, and we'll pass them on to Daz, or you can find him on social media. Okay, Sean, thank you very much for your efforts tonight. Much appreciated. And thank you for hosting. Much appreciated. Daz, thank you for joining us. Good to see you looking well, fella, and thank you for the kind offer. This has been Last Crescendo Boxing. First and probably last live session for the time being.
Until Lee Wood.
Keep an eye on our socials and we'll keep you updated about any future lives. Like, comment, subscribe, and let's go Lee Wood.